What I'm about to lay down right here is very, very troubling, especially for those of us who, in one way or the other, contributed towards the Buhari electoral success in 2015. Now, for me in particular, one of the main reasons why I fought so hard against Goodluck Jonathan was because of my brothers in Borno. And I consider the people of Borno my brothers and what they went through in the hands of Boko Haram. That was what brought about the creation of my NGO, ENDS, Every Nigerian Do Something. In fact, that happened on March 18th, 2013, right when there was a bombing at Sabungari. And I was like, this is ridiculous. You know, Jonathan is folding, his hands are tied, or is folding his hands while people are dying. Boko Haram killed, according to estimates that I believe in and I consider accurate, at least 1 million people. We had more than 2 million, 3 million people displaced. The Northeast has been ravaged beyond possible repair. And this was very, very serious because, you know, the Jonathan government just kept folding its hands, you know, corruption, enriching themselves. The Dasukis were swallowing money. The military chiefs, the Buratais, the Bades, all of the military leadership was swallowing money and watching the people die. And it's because of Boko Haram that someone like me personally, before I used to do my activism in private, but that's when I opened up and started writing articles with my name and fighting Jonathan every day for his inaction on Boko Haram. Jonathan did not arrest a single sponsor of Boko Haram, and I kept lamenting about it. I'm like, we know they are political sponsors of Boko Haram, and you are doing nothing about it. Now, it's due to this amount of advocacy that I was influential in bringing in the Buhari government, so much so that I was one of the few people, about 300, who were invited on Buhari's side for Buhari's inauguration. And I was happy at that time. I said, we are going to get a government that at last is going to tackle Boko Haram, at last is going to expose the sponsors of Boko Haram. Now, what I'm saying in this video, if you have a weak mind, just stop listening to it, because this is very, very serious stuff that I'm laying down in this video. Very, very serious stuff for the conscientious, the God-fearing, and the people who want true progress for Nigeria. So, like I was saying, Buhari comes in and I was happy. I said, at last we are going to deal with the people who paid and sponsored for the deaths of our people, of my brothers. It's 2 years later. Buhari has not, just like Jonathan, arrested a single sponsor of Boko Haram. Not one. I'm not talking about corruption. In corruption is the same thing. He has not locked up a single person on corruption. I'm talking about terrorism now. Not one political sponsor of Boko Haram has been arrested. Now, Dasuki, who we all fought against and who we were glad that the Buhari government was coming in to deal with and sentence for robbing money for the whole conspiracy with all the other people in the Jonathan government, robbing money. I said this, and you can check archives. I've said this long ago, that Buhari will never, never lock up Dasuki. Mark my words. Buhari will never lock up the most treacherous person in Nigeria's history today, which we all believe and which the Buhari themselves have presented, Dasuki. Buhari will never lock up Dasuki, in spite of the damage and destruction that he did to our brothers and sisters in the Northeast, in spite of him nearly destroying our country completely. And why is it that Buhari would not lock up Dasuki? The reason is very simple. There are certain secrets that Dasuki knows that Buhari cannot afford Dasuki to release. Dasuki is holding Buhari because this is the cabal. This is the cabal network. They are all connected. Invariably, Buhari is protecting certain people involved in corruption who Dasuki would expose, and protecting sponsors of Boko Haram. Now, there's an article I noticed in Daily Post, and I'll put all the sources to this thing up here. It was released July 21st, 2015. Name of the article is DSS versus Dasuki. Court process may lead to revelations on Boko Haram, APC, PDP. The minute I saw that article, I knew Dasuki implanted it in Daily Post, and I advise all of you to go and read it. Within the article, certain things were said, and the minute I saw that article, I knew that there was more to this Boko Haram, and that was the minute I knew that Buhari would never lock him up. And if you keep watching the case as it unfolds, they never bring Dasuki to court. They just don't bring him to court. They lock lock him up in house arrest till Buhari finishes his term. They are never going to bring him to court. They are never going to prosecute him. And this is why the minute I read this in that article, I knew something shady about Boko Haram. And we should be afraid if we have a government that protects sponsors of Boko Haram. Jonathan Buhari is the same thing. We should be very, very scared, and we should pray to God to save us and deliver us, because considering the amount of death, considering the amount of pain, the amount of suffering, our fellow brothers and sisters who have been raped, and elements of our government or the head of our government protects sponsors and supporters of Boko Haram. Now, this was the comment in the article. The article reads, prominent northern Nigerians are pleading with embattled former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki not to go to court in the face of harassment he's facing from DSS. Speaking to Daily Post, a source said that the treatment method of Dasuki was subject of discussion among many northern elites who believe any court process will lead to disclosure of many other issues not fit for public consumption. Okay? Issues not fit. I feel like crying because the northern masses are beholden, are enslaved by a very wicked elite. The whole country is subdued and suppressed by a very wicked elite, north and south, cabal. And they hold us and punish us and keep us in perpetual misery while forcing us to support and vote for them. But this will end by or before 2019. Let me read on. The caliber of personalities that have reached out to Dasuki will shock you, the source said. Asked to disclose the persons, I cannot mention names, but they include generals, emirs, politicians, as well as loyalists of the current administration. You can find this article in Daily Post. Let me jump forward because I can't because of time. Commenting on the items found in Dasuki's house, our source wondered why DSS was portraying Dasuki as though they were acting in script. This is pure witch hunting, ridicule, and persecution. Those accusing Dasuki not to go to court know that he is being pushed to the wall and the outcome will not be funny. In his 3 years at that post as NSA, he had access to all the classified documents you can think of. Documents with facts on Boko Haram, documents on political parties and who their members really are. We are talking about damning revelations. Dasuki had access to list of questionable characters who funded these parties. He had access to list of those indicted for corruption and other serious charges over the years, among others. Imagine if it divulges such to the whole world. Those who have fired the first salvo should not get too comfortable. No one is saying the man should be beyond probe, but blah, blah, blah. The source disclosed that NSA's father, Ibrahim Dasuki, is prevailing on his son not to press charges. This is the kind of damning information that Dasuki threatens this government with, that he has in his possession, that any NSA has. And this is why we as Nigerian people are watching. The people who killed our people, the people who sponsored Boko Haram, are being let off the hook. And I'm going to give you the examples of it that are happening right now. Remember the case of Senator Ndume? Senator Ndume was caught, according to the evidence by the prosecution, text messages carrying threats from Boko Haram to Adoke, AGF Adoke at the time. And guess what Buhari did in that court case? Buhari tossed that court case. You can go to Vanguard of July 4th this year, or any other dailies on how Ndume got off the hook on the case of Boko Haram. I'm reading from Vanguard right now. Meanwhile, in his ruling, Justice Kolawole noted that the federal government, that's the Buhari government, failed to discharge the burden of proof that was placed on it by Section 1315 of the Evidence Act 2015. Evidence Act, you have to bring certain evidence to court to prosecute properly. The judge observed that the federal government failed to produce some vital witnesses, including former Vice President Namadina Sambo and the then DSS DG. Justice Kolawole equally noted that the federal government, that's the Buhari government's prosecution, it's not about us blaming judges here. The Buhari government prosecution failed to produce convicted and self-acclaimed spokesman of Boko Haram, Ali Konduga. That is the person who was transferring the text to Ndume. You do not bring the chief witness to court. He is locked up. Konduga is locked up and you do not bring him to court. That is intentionally. That is a betrayal of trust. That is treasonable. That is intentionally tossing the case on Ndume to allow someone alleged to be a sponsor of Boko Haram to walk free. This is the kind of thing that we are having, and anybody who has the fear of God in his heart is going to be very perturbed about these kind of things, because death, when it comes to death, our poor innocent people in Borno dying, and people are letting them off the hook by not bringing witnesses in jail to court. They should know that God is watching and the people will fight them over these kind of things. There is no joke here. When people died, I have friends in my NGO, I have a lot of friends directly affected by Boko Haram. Let's go on. Now, just for the space of time, I'll just run over certain other things that we have. Now, the reason why this topic comes up is because of the secret trial that the government is doing. Now that it's time to try Boko Haram, Nigerian government said they are going to have a secret trial. What is secret? What are they hiding? These are the same secrets. They said they are going to have a secret trial. The ones in British history that they ever proposed a secret trial, you need to hear the uproar. Otherwise, all trials are done in the open of terrorists. Why is Nigeria having a secret trial? What secrets are they hiding? The Buhari government are hiding the sponsors of Boko Haram, the politicians in their government, in APC, PDP, this all one. They are hiding these people from us. Do we not fear God? Are we not afraid of lives lost that we are allowing them? Nigeria should be up in protest against a secret trial. This is, go and look in the dailies. Buhari government said they are having a secret trial for Boko Haram suspects upon all we have gone through. This is the extent to which the court ruled for Buhari to release the names of looters. Buhari government has failed to release. They are in contempt of court. They have failed to AGF. Malami said, I will release the names one by one. They are not releasing the names of looters who stole our money and killed us. Now, the court, now again, trial for Boko Haram. They want to do it in secret to cover up the links to people, cabal, who sponsor this terror that destroyed farming, caused starvation in Nigeria. How can we progress if we continue to tolerate stuff like this from this cabal, this singular cabal that has held Nigeria down since 1960? So you can look for that. Just Google it and see secret trial for Boko Haram suspects. It's the same Buhari who celebrates Bamanga Tukur. This is it in The Nation. He celebrated Bamanga Tukur as an elder statesman. Bamanga Tukur during Jonathan's time said, according to dailies, that Boko Haram is fighting for justice. Boko Haram is another name of justice. Buhari celebrates him as a national statesman, somebody that should be locked up for helping to encourage people, our youth, to join Boko Haram with such statements by such political office holders and national northern statesmen. There is problem, Nigeria, and we have to get out of this curse. This is a curse. Of course, we must not forget that the very same Buhari faulted Jonathan's government and obstructed justice. He stood in the way of justice as a northerner and an elder statesman from the north by saying Boko Haram should be rewarded. And this is The Nation. The Nation is a government paper today. Boko Haram should be rewarded and Jonathan should not kill them. People like us were fighting for proscription of Boko Haram. We are the ones who made them proscribe Boko Haram. But at the same time, people like Buhari were obstructing that justice, standing in the way of Jonathan fighting Boko Haram. We have a serious problem here. But we as a people are going to deal with it by God's grace. And God is kind to the Chibok girls and all other victims. God is merciful.